This video is brought to you by my run in Melbourne Fringe. That's right, I got a couple of shows in the Melbourne Fringe Festival coming up, and I'd love for you guys to come check them out. I won't bang on too much about them now. I have decided we will break up this video into its component parts. So there'll be a second part to this video that you guys should check out when that drops, not too far from now. But until then, enjoy this video. Come check us out in the Melbourne Fringe. Alright, so this is something new that I want to try. I'm kind of hoping that it'll be a more constant thing. And maybe I'll be able to get one up every fortnight or so, depending on time and how interesting the news has been. But we'll see. Hopefully this will be a little thing that will develop. I'll be referring to my notes from time to time, so if I break eye contact with you, it's not because I'm breaking YouTube protocols, because I got notes and I'll probably be looking at them a lot to be fair, because quite frankly it's a lot of information. I haven't really memorized any of it. Alright. So I guess to start us off, this is going to be something that's going to be like... So to start off, this is going to be something that's very Australian-centric, because we just had a federal election, right? And some really weird stuff happened, like a lot of really weird stuff happened to a lot of parties. And I'm going to sort of talk us through some of those weirder things, because if you're not from Australia, you definitely wouldn't have heard of most of what happened, and if you are from Australia, you might have missed some of it. So let's sort of get into it. May as well start with the winning party. That's the Liberal Party, which if you're not from Australia doesn't mean that they have liberal values. And that's sort of like in the way that the Republican Party in America, even though they sound like they should be the more progressive party because they're all for the Republic, are actually the more conservative party. The Liberal Party are actually the conservative party. It's apparently because of liberal economics. Anyway, you can look it up online. It's really not that important for what we're talking about. The Liberal Party won the election, which put Scott Morrison back in power. But like, looking at some of the tactics that they deployed over this election, they were more than a little bit shifty. So the former and now current again PM Scott Morrison started out strong, straight out the gate, trying to accuse his major rivals, the Labor Party, of racism, as you do. Pretty standard play. So basically what he tried to do was he tried to link the Deputy Labor leader, Tanya Plibersek's criticism of the Indian-owned Adani coal mine with comments made by former state Labor leader Michael Daly, who was caught on camera claiming that Asian immigrants were taking the jobs of young Australians. You've all heard that story before. Not usually from the Labor Party, but hey, everyone's got to try something new from time to time. However, on the very same day that he tried to sort of claim this moral victory over the Labor Party, with regard to racism, he then went out and greeted an Asian woman with cheery ni hao. Now, that wasn't the racist part. What happened was that the woman that he greeted was in fact not Chinese. She was actually Korean. Taking a second to correct him. Now, look, to be fair, there was actually no way for him to have known that she was Korean, right? Which realistically means he shouldn't have taken a stab. Like, when in doubt, just assume that everyone is Australian. It's probably a safer bet. Although, he's going to take that opportunity, could get that Chinese money where he can. Any opportunity to hook up with a Chinese donor, I guess. So the Liberal candidate for Isaacs, named Jeremy Hearn, he was dumped for Islamophobic remarks that he made on social media last year. This will be a reoccurring theme of the election campaign. Someone stuck me up on social media, so strap in. If you like social media gaffes, this is going to be a great election for you. So, look, it's pretty standard stuff for this kind of post. He was fear-mongering about Sharia law, but then he picked it up a bit by claiming that all Muslims were for the killing or enslavement citizens of Australia if they do not become Muslim, which is a strong statement, to say the least. Apparently, that no oath of allegiance from a person following such an ideology can or should be accepted by the Australian government under the current law, because they are clearly people of bad character, which is taking it, like, I've seen a lot of racist statements in my time, but it's taking it to a whole new level. Like, dude's really upping his game here. So on a slightly lighter note, one of the Libnat members, a guy called Angus Taylor, was caught commenting, "Fantastic, great move Angus," on his own campaign video, which is a move that is in and of itself so fantastic. Great move Angus, just so great. Alright, so there was a whole host of PMs who are out trying to win their seats back this election, and it was very strange that a bunch of them sort of took to the campaign with what seems like a kind of important detail missing. So what they've gone and done is they've gone and erased all Liberal Party logos and signage from their own posters. So they're just out there. Could be anyone, could be any party that, just trying to make a nice impression, trying to impress those voters. But, oh wow, says a lot. So they've realised. They've gone to the job of realising that the party that they're campaigning with is bad for their brand, bad for their branding, and yet they're still campaigning under that party, which is a stunning display of both self-awareness and simultaneously a severe lack of self-awareness. It's actually amazing. They really should create a sign that says "Vote 1, Cognitive Dissonance." Oh, it's incredible. So Peter Dunn, who all Australians will know as either a potato or Voldemort or whatever running meme joke you want to go with, he's got a bit of a shit reputation because he's a monster, he's a beast. He really is just awful. However, his wife came out during the campaign to claim that he is not she had to go out and defend him as being not a monster. It's, oh man. But honestly, if I was to put it, I'll put an image up, the man truly looks like Voldemort. Even Voldemort actor Ralph Fiennes doesn't look as much like Voldemort. And he played Voldemort. This guy just has resting Voldemort face. Now, this defense is interesting given Dunn's recent history of boycotting the apology to the stolen generations, making jokes about islands sinking. Calling a journalist a mad witch, not taking responsibility for the many deaths that have happened on Manus Island, despite being a big part of the campaign to put people there, building up fear-mongering over non-existent African gangs. Death threats are off. He's been receiving death threats because he's a monster. And like most villagers, they want to destroy all monsters. You've seen Frankenstein. It's like that. And in no way do I endorse death threats, especially when they're aimed at his wife and not at the man himself. You're not gonna kill the woman that Dracula takes as his bride. You're gonna kill Dracula, right? That's how that works. But anyway, she just really doubled down on this relationship, and to be fair, she herself wouldn't see him as a monster. We've seen similar cases of Stockholm Syndrome overcome, a relationship between a seemingly normal woman and a monster before. So here's one. It was uncovered that Gurpal Singh, a lawyer and a lecturer who was running to take the safe seat of Scullin, safe Labour seat of Scullin, he said during a radio interview in 2017 that legalising same-sex marriage could open the gates to more sexual abuse of children. This would have been during the same-sex marriage plebiscite debate, so this is quite old information, but it's sort of coming to light now because obviously he's going for a seat. We've got to get people like that out of there, and that is a classic homophobic argument right there. However, that wasn't enough to knock down the hopeful candidate, as the party continued to endorse him. Just a standard case of boys will be homophobic. Like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? No, it wasn't until posts where he dismissed a woman's allegations of rape and abuse and violence from her former husband that they decided that maybe, just maybe, he doesn't speak with the values that will relate to basic humans. I don't mind him being a real piece of shit to gay couples, but when he gets angry at women, no, that's not how that works. Women make babies. We don't get angry at women. Actually, while we're attacking the vulnerable, so this billionaire pub baron, his name's Justin Hemis, I don't really care. He inherited a lot of places where people as poor as me waste their youth being underpaid, and what he did was he offered to host a cocktail party to raise campaign cash for Scott Morrison. So unsurprisingly, he's come under fire from unions who claim that he has ripped off his workers. A classic play. Now, this shouldn't come as a surprise to any of us, given that after the Fair Work Commission figured out that the Maryvale Group, which is the group that he owns, was sustaining on what a Fair Work Commission called a zombie agreement, because it just won't die. It's from work choices, that really horrible thing that Howard put into place. So there's an old work choices agreement with lower hourly rates of pay and almost non-existent penalties for weekend and public holiday shifts. Like, I don't know how someone hadn't reported him a long time ago for that, but it's come to light, so fantastic. And let's be honest, it's not like these places have historically proven of any import to the poor. These pesky weekend rates and public holiday rates. How would you possibly need something like that to survive when you're barely getting by? Money's for the job makers to make the jobs, and for these employees to celebrate their servitude by getting wasted at the Christmas party. Whoops, unless, your boss is a literal Scrooge who cancels Christmas because he has to pay you properly. That's right. This is definitely the kind of man that you want getting in the ear of someone like the PM, Mr. I Stopped the Boats himself. Yeah, that's right. He literally cancelled Christmas for his employees because he had to pay them proper wages. Speaking of pieces of shit, a poo was hidden inside a hollowed out book that had been dumped outside Tony Abbott's electorate office in North Sydney. The feces was placed inside a book with the word unpopular written on the cover. Now, according to photos published by News Corp Australia, this should not surprise anyone. It's hardly the first time that they've put shit in their paper. Shots fired. Alright, moving along, let's speed this up a little. At the CWA meeting in Albury, you probably heard about this one if you live here in Australia, a protester attempted to egg Scott Morrison, presumably inspired by the previous Fraser Anning egging, that you also would have heard of even if you live out of this country. Even John Oliver covered it, if I remember correctly. Yeah. But the egg emerged unscathed, bouncing right off the Prime Minister's head.
The woman was quickly tackled trampled to the ground and was dragged out by the PM's security detail.
It didn't even break when it hit the ground. The protester, who's a 24-year-old, who threw the egg at the PM, has been charged with one case of common assault and is being charged with possession of marijuana and being a millennial. Is further accused of destroying the egg industry, destroying the omelette industry, destroying the breakfast industry, destroying the egging political figures industry. Damn millennials, always ruining things. Look, I know right now this seems like a very one-sided piece, but we're going to get to the other parties. Don't we just power through all these Liberal parties? Liberal MP Andrew Hastie has denied that he met a controversial far-right-wing extremist and convicted criminal last year. Now this flies in the face of an admission from his colleague, Liberal backbencher Ian Goodenough, which, what a name, Ian Goodenough, who has confirmed that he and Mr Hastie met with Neil Erickson. Gladys Liu, who claimed on 2 separate recent occasions that she is a multicultural ambassador to the AFL, despite resigning from that position last year. She also kept the gig on her LinkedIn profile and then spruiked it in social media posts, which is the most adorable social media scandal I've ever heard. Sachin Joshi was running in the New South Wales electorate of Patterson for the Liberals, and some curious comments about the gender pay gap have come back to haunt him. Seems the Sydney Morning Herald had published a series of remarks made by Mr Joshi, including his belief that women aren't interested in, quote, money matters and other business-related stuff. That the main reason for the gender gap lies in an active interest, or lack of it, towards business skills and responsibilities, end quote. He wrote this on his LinkedIn candidate profile last October, which, again, why are people making controversial posts on their LinkedIn? Why are people using LinkedIn? What sort of social media scandal is this that two of your candidates got taken down by LinkedIn? Come on, come on, Liberal Party, get yourselves together, sort it out. So the Liberal Party again, they distributed fake AEC-style signage. So the AEC is the Australian Electoral Commission. So the fake signage that looked like AEC-style signage, they put it in Mandarin, allegedly telling voters for their vote to count, they need to give their first preference to the Liberal Party, which is super shady. And apparently it's, I can't even remember where I heard this information, so hopefully this is not unsubstantiated, but apparently that's how you are supposed to vote in the People's Democratic Republic of China. Like, you've got to put one by the the discipline, and then put some other things in there. But to be honest, I don't know. I couldn't confirm that, but it was something that I heard somewhere. A little unsubstantiated, but I'm not going to cut it out. An unauthorised mass robocall told voters not to vote Labor or their house values would fall, and that's some shady shit. There are fake how to vote cards that were handed out to tell Greens voters, of all people, Greens voters, that they should don't vote for Peter Dutton. Oh man, because if you're going to convert somebody, it's not to be Greens voters. You probably want to give those things to One Nation voters or United Party voters. Everybody who's gone to vote Greens knows who Peter Dutton is, knows what he's done. These are not the people you're going to convert. Anyway, moving on. The Liberal Party failed to properly authorise ads appearing on major news websites. Now, to my knowledge, this is actually the only dodgy piece of political act that has seen some sort of consequence. But it's hardly a punishment. What happened was the ARC just really leaned into dad voice, and they were like, hey, come on. We've talked about this. Come on, champ. You can lie all you want. We don't mind. You can lie. I'm not stopping you from lying. We just need you to acknowledge that you approve these lies. That's it. That's all we need. You know, that fast little voice that goes, or have a little authorization of the mob. That's all we ask. That's it. Look, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Now go to your room. And finally, showing their true self. This one's a bit of a sad one. Murray Angus, a 71-year-old, running for the seat of Corayo in Geelong, was blocked from running over comments that he made to the media. Now you would think, given the list of heinous comments that they stood by in the past, that this must be pretty awful, because they've jumped on top of this pretty quickly and they've stopped him from running. Let me tell you the awfulness of the comments that he made. So he told News Corp papers that he thought his Labor opponent, the Shadow Defence spokesman Richard Miles, was a good bloke. That's it. And he was blocked from running. So he said his opponent was a good bloke and that he backed unions, which of course he does. He's a Labor candidate. That's Labor's bread and butter. All this, and yet they still endorse Peter Dutton. I don't understand where they're at. But anyway, moving on to the next major party, the Labor Party. Now, the Liberals weren't the only one who messed up on social media this election. The Labor Party had a few little bits and pieces of their own. So, Labor candidate in the Greens-held seat of Melbourne, Luke Creasy. He faced questions over a series of polling posts, including rape jokes, which is awful. It's inexcusable. His posts also mocked the working class in Sydney's Sutherland Shire. Now, at first it appeared that Creasy would remain the Labor candidate because he apologised, saying, it's been brought to my attention that some of the posts I shared on social media years ago when I was in my early 20s have been circulated. What I said was stupid, immature, and in no way reflects the views I hold today. I apologise for these posts which have been removed, and that's a pretty reasonable apology. I'm not sure that they should still be standing by him, but for a little while that they were. Eventually, questions about his eligibility to sit Parliament started to appear just a few days after he apologised, so someone had been doing some digging. Now, the questions weren't over his social media posts, they're actually over his citizenship, which shouldn't surprise anyone given Australia's recent history with citizenship. So, it's Australia's new favourite way to get rid of someone from the Parliament. Section 44. But he was accused of having foreign citizenship because his Ukrainian grandmother was made stateless during World War II. Before he could make any decisions, before he could look into anything, before he could get it, the Labor Party just decided, I guess, that he wasn't worth their problems and just disendorsed him. They took him out of the running. Then they said it was over the original post, which is probably a smart move. You sort of want to be on top of that one. Now this one's a little bit weird. Stay with me here. So this guy, Wayne Kerneth, who was the number 2 Senate pick in the Northern Territory until he quit over his anti-Semitic Facebook posts. So more Facebook. If you're doing some sort of drinking game, social media, hit it up. So, more social media, but it wasn't just anti-Semitic posts. That's enough to topple someone. But there's more. He got found out for having conspiracy theory posts. So he believed, this one's a gem, he believed an alien race of Jewish lizard shapeshifters secretly controls the world. This is sort of like combining all the major conspiracies. So there's the Jews control the media, there's the lizard people, and shapeshifters, and Illuminati. This is like the Avengers of conspiracy theories. These posts came out just days after he was forced to apologise for an Islamic State-inspired cartoon of an ABC journalist being beheaded by Malcolm Turnbull. This guy just keeps giving like a horrible pinata. So that guy alone had 3 major social media gaffes. Oh man, that's delightful. Now, originally, Shorten denied having met Kenneth, but there is a photo of them together. Now, I know that looks bad, like he's trying to avoid his responsibilities by saying, no, I never met him. But let's be honest here, there are heaps of people that I have pictures with who I just don't remember meeting. Like, it's likely that he probably just forgot the guy. But this also seems like the kind of guy who would be hard to forget. Seems to have some distinct personality traits that you're probably gonna remember. Last one for Labour though, this one's a bit of a strange one. Not quite as strange as that, but anyway. The unions in Victoria, because obviously the unions and the Labour Party, they work together. The unions in Victoria, they put up these fake eviction notices on office windows of Liberal MPs. The mock eviction notice were recently put up at the offices of Sarah Henderson and Gladys Yu, and they said, look at the image here, our records show that you have fallen into severe and irrevocable arrears in relation to your delivery of government services to the people of whatever area they were in. You are hereby ordered to vacate the office of the member for that space that they were in by no later than May 2019. It's not the most clever thing that they could have done, but not bad. Like, gets the point across. The issue, of course, came when they realised that the posters failed to contain the proper authorisations. So the same problem that the Liberal Party was having. And, of course, the authorisations are required by electoral law, and such laws help the public to properly discern who is behind such content and allow the authorities to track down political communications and hold individuals responsible, despite clearly having the We Are Union logo plastered right there on the notice. So obviously we know who it's either going to be the unions or it's going to be the Labour Party, but the law is the law. You gotta do what you gotta do.